Now, before we get into today's video, I want you all to click the link below and join my email list right now. There's a whole lot of great content that I want to send to you, but YouTube doesn't let me show you. Must be systemic racism. They deleted a bunch of our videos, but that will not stop me from telling you the truth. So join my email list right now. The link is in the description. Good news, America. Biden says we had zero inflation last month. What he meant was zero growth in inflation last month, but year to year, 8.5% inflation.
I want to say a word about the news that came out today relative to the economy. Actually, I just want to say a number. Zero.
Zero.
Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July. 0%.
What that means is inflation did not increase in July, but year to year, as I said earlier, prices are up 8.5%, and year to year, gasoline prices up 44%. But good news, didn't go up anymore in July.
Here's what that means. While the price of some things went up last month, the price of other things went down.
And one of the things that went down was gasoline. And you know why? Because fewer people are driving because the economy is slowing down. So demand fell, and that is why the prices fell. So if you want to say your policies are working because you slowed down the economy with all the spending, good on you.
By the same amount. The result, zero inflation last month.
Now, the White House's economic advisor, Jared Bernstein, a member of his Council of Economic Advisors, we'll come to that in just a second, ducked when he was confronted on the fact that we have the highest food prices in 40 years.
Here's what Americans are dealing with. Eggs are up 38%, margarine 32%, flour 22%, coffee 20%, soup 19%, lunch meat 18%. Can you say today that inflation has peaked in America, given these numbers?
What I can say today is that inflation went up 0% in the month of July.
0% in the month of July. So it's been going up and up and up, but it didn't go up in the month of July. Now, Charlie Gasparino is an economic commentator. Here's what he said about Biden doing a victory lap because in July we had zero inflation growth.
You know, that's not the Babylon Bee doing TV. I guess. That's for real. That's the scary part. I mean, it's obviously absurd and stupid, and, you know, I don't know why he said it. We don't have zero inflation. Actually, we have a little less inflation. That's still very high. And, you know, here's the thing. I think that, you know, the markets were up today. They like the fact that it's gone down, so they were up 500 points. So there's some thinking that maybe Jerome Powell will stop the rate increases. But, you know, here's what I hear from people that talk to the Fed, and these are major financial players. The Fed is definitely wants to get inflation down to its 2% target. We are still a long way from 2%. Okay, forget about zero. It's 8.5% today. If that's going to happen, there's going to be many more rate increases, and we're probably going to enter a recession at some point. And
so, Charlie, here's
the White House you can't spin your way out of that.
But hey, a White House economist says the data are inconsistent with the recession.
On the jobs front, it would be interesting to know, and we just hear it anecdotally, but a lot of people are having to work two jobs in order to afford gas and their electric bills and getting their kids back, you know, getting that dorm room ready and getting those.
Now, the gentleman in the middle is the aforementioned Jared Bernstein, a member of Joe Biden's Council of Economic Advisors. He is the face you see most often when the Biden administration is talking about economics.
Kids back in school this fall. And on the Manchin-Schumer reconciliation deal, I do have a question for you. Is it your opinion as an economist that it is a good idea to raise taxes during a recession?
Is it your opinion as an economist, is it a good idea to raise taxes during a recession? Hit that one more time.
Deal. I do have a question for you. Is it your opinion as an economist that it is a good idea to raise taxes during a recession?
Sigh. The man is not an economist. Undergraduate degree in music, played double bass, whatever that is. advanced degrees in social work and philosophy. The man is not an economist, yet he is the most visible person commenting on the economy in the Biden administration. Now, there is another commentator named Hyde with Bloomberg and talks about food prices year to year, year to year, 10.9%. But hey, zero inflation in July.
Food prices soaring, climbing 10.9% from a year earlier. Biggest increase since 1979. Essentials like cereal, like dairy products, certain ones of them, posting record year-over-year rises.
Now, the average family is spending $500 a month more for the same goods that the family bought last year. I repeat, $500 a month more for the very same goods. But hey, good news. It didn't go up in July. Now, one of the things that happened to me when I was running for governor is that they went through all the stuff that I've ever written. I've written a newspaper column, syndicated column ever since April of 1998. So we're talking about almost 1,200 columns since April of 1998, once a week. I miss 1 week, one time. And I'm allowed 2 weeks off for Christmas. I never take them, but one Christmas I took off 1 week. So I've written a column every single week since April of 1998. And one of them was about the minimum wage. And I said the ideal minimum wage should be zero. By the way, there was an editorial in the New York Times in 1987 where they said the ideal minimum wage should be 0.00. I said editorial, not op-ed piece. Op-ed piece is when somebody gives an opinion. An editorial is the official opinion of the newspaper. 1987. And their economic columnist named Paul Krugman, he's a Nobel laureate. He also wrote disparagingly about the minimum wage years ago before he did a 180, now supports it. All right? And so some reporter said to me, Larry, you think people should work for free? I said, where does it say that Larry says people should work for free? Do you work for free? I don't work for free. Would you work for free? I wouldn't work for free. Well, you said there should be no minimum wage. I said, that's right. There's a place called Hong Kong. Gordon Chang and I were talking about it a moment ago. A rock, virtually no natural resources other than a great harbor. And within about a generation or two, because of mostly free trade, and by the way, no minimum wage, entrepreneurs became so wealthy that their GDP per capita began to rival that of Great Britain. I repeat, a rock with no resources, no minimum wage. And I said, because this has been probably one of the most studied aspects of all of economics, the minimum wage. And I said to her, well, who's your favorite economist? Because whoever she would have named, I would have told you that that economist opposes the minimum wage. For example, Milton Friedman, who wrote Free to Choose, said the minimum wage is probably the most anti-black law on the statute books because it discriminates against unskilled people, a disproportionately high percentage of whom are the very black and brown people that people on the left claim to care about. So I said to her, who's your favorite economist? Deer in the headlight look. I said, you can't name one? Deer in the headlight look. She said, well, the professor I studied economics with when I was in college. I said, okay, what's his or her name? Deer in the headlight look. You don't remember? She said, no. I said, okay, have you heard of Adam Smith? She said, no. Adam Smith, the guy that is the father of modern economics, wrote a book called The Wealth of Nations, came out in 1776. You know that year, 1776? She never heard of him. I said, do you know who Milton Friedman is? She said, no. Wrote the book called Free to Choose, went to Hong Kong, and you can go online and see his visit. He said it was probably the freest economic country in the world and talked about what I just now told you about how it was dirt poor a generation or two ago and now rivals the wealth of some of the leading nations in the world. Never heard of him. Paul Krugman, the guy that used to oppose the minimum wage and then did a 180. She never heard of him. So here you are writing about business, writing about economics, challenging me on something I wrote about economics 101, and you can't name a single economist. And then Jared Bernstein has been advising Biden since Biden was vice president, advised him for 8 years, and now is a member of his Council of Economic Advisors undergraduate degree in music, advanced degrees in social work, and in philosophy. I kid you not. I read that Joe Biden has a greater percentage of people in his administration at the top who've never worked in the private sector than any administration in memory. As you know, 888-971-7243, 888-971-SAGE. You can always call, leave a message. Make sure it's under 59 seconds, and please lose the profanity. Let's go to the phones.
Mr. Elder, I'm a huge fan of yours. I really rooted for you running for California, governor of California. I just don't think they appreciate you out there. I know you're pretty much set up in California, but I hope that you and others like you get out of California, come down here toward the south. We would love you down here in North Kakalaki. Would love, be very proud for you to be our governor. I know my family would definitely love it. A lot of us here in the south are big fans of you and would love to have you come down here, run for governor here, get our governor out, who's absolutely awful. But just know that you have a large fan base, and I just wish you the best. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Not quite sure where North Kakalaki is, but it sounds like a delightful place. Look, I've been tempted. I've been born and raised here, and frankly, I could move and live anywhere and do what I do. That's the beauty of being in a digital age like this. A lot of people now can work from their homes and do their, in my case, do my program from anywhere in the world. And I've given it a great deal of consideration. I was talking earlier about the latest brain dead thing the state has done. And the city of LA City Council has now put on the ballot an initiative to force hotel owners to house the homeless if they have vacant rooms. I kid you not. Private property, forcing people who own hotels privately to rent them out to the homeless. Now, as I said earlier, it's not much of a leap to force private homeowners to rent vacant rooms, guest house, out to the homeless. If you can force a private hotel owner to do it, what's the difference between that and forcing a private homeowner to do it? That on top of any number of brain dead proposals that have been passed since Gavin Newsom has been in office. It really is extremely tempting. And as far as running for office again in California, I said before, the math is daunting. There hasn't been a Republican who's won statewide in California in almost 20 years. And it is true that in 2003, Gavin Newsom caused a recall of the then Democrat Governor Gray Davis. But since then and now, the electoral map in California is very different. There are now 5% more registered Republicans. There are 33% fewer registered, 5% more registered Democrats, 33% fewer registered Republicans, and 50% more registered independents. And even the New York Times said independents in California vote Democratic. And still, I receive 49% of the replacement vote, which is almost exactly what Arnold Schwarzenegger received in 2003. But the math is daunting, and I've given a great deal of consideration to moving for political reasons and for lifestyle reasons. But so far, I don't want them to chase me out. Thank you very much for the call. Let's take another one.
Hi, Larry. Kelly from Howell, Michigan. First-time caller, new to your show. You've quickly become my favorite show. Keep up the good work. On the Trump indictment, I will differ with you for one reason. Michael Sussman. Guilt or innocence, right or wrong, fact or fiction, proof and evidence means nothing. The D.C. swamped and the corrupt DOJ will indict Trump. They'll hold the trial in D.C. The judge will be an Obama appointee. The DA will be a Soros clown. The jury will be friends and family of the judge and the DA. There is nothing the Democrats will stop at to get Trump because they are scared to death of him and his clout. You're right about the House. I have no interest in California, but I would be interested in your boat. I live near a lake, and we're having a beautiful summer here in Michigan. Thanks, Larry. Have a great day, and again, keep up the good work.
Well, the bad news is that was not my boat. That was not my dog in that commercial. But I got to tell you, after this raid on Mar-a-Lago, I am beginning to agree more and more with you that they may very well indict Donald Trump. I never thought they were going to do it. I thought the backlash would be too great, and I didn't think the evidence was there. As I said before, my cousin Vinny could get an acquittal in the event that they indict him with this kind of thin evidence. But you're right about the D.C. jury. They allowed Michael Sussman to walk, and the forewoman of that jury said there are far more important things than whether or not this man might have lied to the FBI. It is not your job as a juror to determine whether or not there's something more important. It's your job as a juror to determine whether or not he lied to the FBI, and clearly he did. So I hope you're wrong, sir, but I'm beginning to have a lot less optimism about the unwillingness on the part of the DOJ to indict Trump, given how thin the evidence is and given how angry at least half the country will be. One more call.
Yeah. The great misconception is that the USA is the major polluter in the world. According to Wikipedia, the USA produces only about 20% of the pollution in the world. The bulk is China, that is over 60% of the pollution in the world, and the balance is by the other nations. So if we go green, it's like a marble pushing a bowling ball. It will not happen. The CCP has announced they will not even broach the subject until 2035. Then, who knows how long it will take for them to curtail the polluting.
Well stated. Ron Stein and I talked about that earlier today in the program, and I said even if California went to zero emissions, it would have zero effect on the climate of the world. He said, I'll go further. If the United States, the UK, and several other industrialized nations went to zero, it wouldn't matter because of China and also because of India. You are absolutely right. Now remember, sure and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We put excerpts of the show every single day, and you can always leave a call at 888-971-7243, 888-971-7243. I'm Larry Elder. This has been The Larry Elder Show for Epoch Times, and remember, we've got a country to save.